the beautiful thing about acrobatics is that the people that you then meet, that you train with, that help you, they help you on a personal level to help you guide you through a certain movement. But that's not all they do. They don't just guide you through the movement. They help you to achieve something that you didn't know that you could do.
Hey, g'day folks. I want to welcome you all to another episode of the Acro Jam Podcast. My partner Sarah and I want to say a huge thank you for joining us to listen to something like this. The fact that anyone wants to check this out and listen to it makes us feel so grateful. As you might have saw in the episode description, this episode of the podcast is a bonus re-release of a previous episode of the Acro Jam Podcast. We are re-releasing all our previous episodes as we weren't really happy with the audio quality, and we want to share and promote the best version of the Acro Jam podcast that we can. So yeah, Sarah and I recently upgraded our podcasting recording devices and our editing software, so things are sounding heaps better, and I hope you enjoy this re-release and all the new episodes that are to come. So before we get into this episode, I just want to tell you that Sarah and I do this podcast purely to promote partner acrobatics in all its forms around the world. We get to share the thoughts and experience of all these awesome teachers who sit down with us, and we can share these with those of you who we know will benefit from them. But yeah, we're just two people, so we would be super grateful if you ever felt compelled to help us out and promote the podcast in any way. I don't know, you could like and subscribe on iTunes, you could leave us a 5-star review, you could share it with your local acro community, or you could just tell a friend who you think might be interested in it and has some long boring drive or stayed at an airport or a flight or something and might want to listen to something acro related. Anyway, if you don't want to do any of that, that's cool too. The fact that you're choosing to listen to this is just so cool to me, and I hope you enjoy. So without any further ado, please enjoy this re-released and remastered episode of the Acro Jam Podcast.
And then for our very first podcast, we have a very special guest, which I'm super excited about.
Yeah, that's right. So we have the amazing Niko Douwes. So we got to catch up with Niko in Tasmania as part of the Threads Flyaway. So Niko is a Dutch acrobat with more than 20 years of experience. He's been teaching for over the last 12 years. He has performed and coached and trained internationally, working with people from all walks of life. He is the co-founder of Partner-acroabtics.com. You can find all their content, intensives, and most importantly, teacher trainings at www.partner-acroabtics.com. And as we found out, training and working with Niko can really take things to the next level. He can help you achieve skills you never thought possible. He is an absolute hand-to-hand master. And we saw him do things with us and other people that we thought were either months or years away in terms of skill development.
Niko is not only an amazing acrobat and acrobatics coach, he is also a dedicated husband and an attentive father. If you're wondering how he manages to juggle all of these roles, then have a listen to today's podcast as we find out about all that and more as we chat to Niko. We really hope you enjoy the podcast, and thanks for joining us on the Acro Jam.
So Sarah and I are super lucky today to be able to pick the brain and spend some time with one of the bigger names in acrobatics. Could you please tell us who you are and a little bit about yourself?
I'm Niko. I'm from the Netherlands, and a little bit. I can talk in the acro sense. I can. There's quite a long story, but I can shorten it into some parts. I've been performing as a juggler and acrobat for many years, and I still have my company, which I run. And it's moved from performance into teaching, as I've started global acrobatics company called Partner-acroabtics 7 years ago, together with my business partner Emily. And we run events now on all the continents, in Thailand, in Chiang Mai, and in Mexico, in Chalananda, outside of Guadalajara, and in Spain, in the Alpujarras, in the south of Spain, which is a growing company, which we founded to really make an impact on the global acro community and get people together doing acro, as I did start out as just a small acro teacher in my hometown in the Netherlands, with a Sunday night class with a how you say it, to just give how much you want to give, kind of you could pay how much you could spend on the class. And I didn't rely on the income as a teacher back then, as I was a performer. And as that changed during the recession in 2009, after the recession, the end of 2008, my money got really low, and I decided to change my gaze at the world and figure out how I could make acrobatics more the teaching of acrobatics more my income. And that's evolved into a lot of projects where I'm teaching. I'm teaching also at Pitch Catch Circus School and I also will be teaching now. The new one now coming up is Leap, which will be in Prague, which is the Little European Acro Program. And there is, of course, other events that I've been hosting for many years, which are very internationally more known events. They're growing as well. So in the Netherlands, we have the Dutch Acrobatics Convention, which has been the biggest acro convention in the world. And it's only been surpassed by Divine Play, the Acro Yoga Festival in San Francisco and Oregon. But they have now stopped, actually. And it's not really about being the biggest, but it's like 800 people.
Wow.
And Monica and I, we organize a pre-convention to the Dutch Acro Convention, because it's actually only a weekend, so it's pretty short to fly all the way to the Netherlands and just for a weekend of acro. So there's actually after the pre-convention, it's going to be our 8th edition, I think, and it's going to be the 32nd edition of Dutch Acro.
Wow.
And there's also other people who also actually do a post-convention. So if it's like there's this growing of events that you can sequel is really happening. So there is actually Dane and Caitlin were also teaching in Amsterdam in the weekend, and it will be pre-convention, and then the next weekend it will be Dutch Acro, and then after Dutch Acro will be post-con. So you really could sequence all the events that are happening at that moment. So you don't, you've got to invest money to go to all the events, but there is, of course, a good reason if you want to really pick up on your acro practice.
The return on investment is very high.
And you're going to have tons of fun, meet loads of people, go to the different events. And we're trying to make that work as well in Bangkok, at the Bangkok Acro Convention. It's also a growing event. So there's those are actually the main big things that are happening for me as an acro teacher, and that has grown, and it probably will grow into more things. So.
Certainly a man with a lot of projects and a lot of things happening. So that was a brief introduction to who you are. But I know there is a history that's nearly 30 years long now. So if you want to take us back and share as much as you want, I'd love to hear how things started for you in this line.
My starting of the acro was actually with a good buddy of mine. He's a Belgian friend of mine. And we actually, there was 3 of us, but Thomas, he kind of didn't want to keep going, so he kind of, in a way let us down, in the sense that it's like, I'm going to join, I'm going to do acro, and we're going to hitchhike to Spain and do some performing in the street, and then it ended up just being me and Bart, and so we got a book, and we got a juggling equipment, and we packed up and hitchhiked to Spain with Thomas, and and we were juggling and training, and Thomas had a good time, but he didn't train, and I still love him. I still see him every once in a while, but he just didn't. It was not his thing. But then Bart and me, we did in Spain also do street performances, and in Barcelona at first on Las Ramblas, the big boulevard in Barcelona, and this was in 1991. So this is already this is when I was 19, and this is many years ago. And Bart kind of on that travel already met this English girl, and he fell in love, and then also dumped me. But that didn't stop me from juggling and
became a solo act.
So and you meet other people to hang out with and train with, and but from then on it actually started, and that book that is the printed with pictures and explanations is a Dutch book. It's a famous book. It's one of the first acro books where tricks are really explained like in sequence in pictures. And it's really funny how now when I look at being a teacher and what, just picking up, doing acro from a book in the streets of Barcelona without any mats, how that actually evolved into now that, that all the things that's going on now for me in acrobatics. And it's funny how that difference is so big, but it's also really nice that I have always been able to keep up, being in touch with that part. I really chose to, be that performer, to do acrobatics, to do physical theater, to do juggling, and I've kept doing that. I'm still also performing every once in a while, and it's that just that teaching now is the bigger thing, because it's just come to me better in the way that it's easier for me to be economically sustainable. And being a performer was also quite some years good, but it's just I think it's I got sick and tired of it's when you're a performer and you stand in a traffic jam to rush to this event, and then there's thousands of people and it's very hard to get to, and then you and your partner arrive and you build everything up, and then you're ready to do your acro, and then you look up the sky and it starts to rain. It's like, like there's these moments that you go like, and they still pay you. It's not a problem, it's still getting money. But it's like, in the Netherlands, it kind of does rain kind of a lot. It's like, it's fun, but it's being a performer is very intense, I'd say. And also it's the financial situation can be up and down. You can have a good summer and, everything is fine. And then the next summer, the next year is like, oh, this cancel, and then you go like, oh God, I got to scramble to get some work. And then now I'm more in the situation that I have reoccurring events, and which are actually all growing in the way that they're, gradually in percentage growing, which means that I just know what my future looks like, which is just more comforting in the sense that I'm not, having to scramble to, do some more extra balloon modeling in the street to get my money together.
Well, in case things are ever tight, there's always something to go back to.
It's always something to go. And I still perform with Monica. We're now doing an acro and hoop combination that we do some acro moves, and Monica's hand-to-hand has become very good. And so then doing the hand-to-hands while she hoops around the foot is looks really good. It's beautiful, and we're getting into that. And we tried some standing ones as well. So when we kind of need another person to help us out for the standing hand-to-hand with a hoop around the foot.
Well, how long will it be till Ruben can start helping out?
I think that'll be another, for that particular move, if you do it in this way, I think he still needs 15 years to...
Can we just mention who Ruben is?
Ruben's our son, and Ruben is traveling with us right now, as he has been since he was 3 weeks old. He had his first flight. He's born in Spain, and when he was 4 months old, he started joining us on I think it was my sixth world tour. And I'm now in my 8th world tour, so he's already joined 3 world tours. He's actually been 3 times in Tasmania already. And so he just comes along to all the events and all the things. Of course, not every single event that I do, but we try to be together with the family actually really most of the time.
Yeah.
So there's like these time slots of several weeks that I'll be working by myself, which is 3 to 4 weeks. But then we hook up again. Then I go back to being with Monica and Ruben. And we get back together again.
So has Ruben had a big impact on your scheduling or life with acrobatics?
Yes, it definitely has. And as I was actually, when I was starting to go teach globally, I was really jumping. I was doing more weekend workshops, which is you jump from one place to the other every weekend. So it's like bam, bam, bam. So you have to get on the airplane, teach, and then you've got a few days to get your thing together again. You fly to the other place, and then you meet the people. You go hang out. You teach, and then it's like, and that would be not really nice to do that with a child. I'd sometimes have like tours that would span 12 weeks. And that is, that for me, that was no problem. But then as a family, you don't want to do that. So, and that's also some of those parts is still the stuff that I do alone. So that when it's really about a lot of traveling in between all the things that I teach, all the events that I teach, then it's much better if they don't come. Then it's much better if they're in one place where they can just, be more stable.
Any signs of slowing down with the family, or we're going to keep things moving?
We definitely going to keep things moving as Partner-acroabtics is growing, and it's going to be kind of a problem to figure out what the solution will be to take him into school. But there is international schools in Thailand. Of course, that would for us be kind of a really nice solution. But then again, also, we're not always in Thailand, so it's for us really also about where we can see, what would be beneficial for us, where to be the most. Then again, doing these things as Monica is from Germany. Germany is kind of an expensive country, but that also means that you can, work and make money. But then we both really don't like the cold, long winters. So that's,
we get that,
That's definitely, and the schools are very strict in Germany. So if you're going to be living in Germany, then he has to go to school for very strict hours. And in countries like Thailand, then of course it's way less strict. It's like more like as long as you can, register and do certain parts of what the school desires you to do, then they're also going to go like, and that time you're traveling and they can give you some homework but still let you into school. As in Germany, it's like everything is just so strictly organized that they're not going to let you get away with anything that is kind of more loose. And, that's going to be looking for a solution for us as, it's really becoming clear that, it doesn't make sense to just stay in Germany as, the Bangkok Acro Convention is growing, Partner-acroabtics is growing. And these things are just like, slowly going to kind of bigger proportions, which also, help us to sustain ourselves financially, but also means that then we have to invest that time in the country and be there. And we can't just do this from Germany or, from a certain place. We have to show up and be there and make sure everything, next to the teaching itself, it's also really important to organize things in the right way. I've really like also here on the flyaway, I've helped Scott and Danny with the rig, the line for the lining. And of course they could get the help somewhere else, but I set this up in many places in the world. I've made one, get one ready in Mexico, in Chalananda, which we use over there. And in Bangkok in the gym, which is like 9 meters high. And I help to hang them up there so that you can have a spotting belt over there. And like all these things, there's all kind of like, you got to do the prep work in order to be complete. People, when levels go up, you have to be able to provide certain things, and when the numbers are growing, we need more food, we need things to really be organized, and that means that you do have to show up and meet the deadlines of all the things that are needed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Speaking of things growing, why do you think that it is that the partner acrobatics is growing so much in recent years?
Yeah, that's funny. That's, of course, acro yoga is a very big contributor to the fact that there is now more acrobats than there used to be. And there's a lot of times this bit of a strange look at acro yoga in acro communities, especially in Europe, I guess, more. And I think it's also a little bit in Australia, where there is an older circus tradition. In Australia, the circus has been, circus schools have been running quite long. And, but in Europe, of course, we have ancient circus schools that, in Berlin or in Eastern Europe, you have like where they also still do stuff with animals. In Russia, that's just like a few borders down the road. And, the whole thing of like, I think the internet is definitely one of the big contributors, like just, you have your moments of insta famousness because you've done your move and you figured out how to do it, and then you can pop that picture on Facebook or Instagram, or and all your friends go like, wow, yeah, I'm working on that too, yeah, I love it, you guys got it down, that thing that really helps to boost because it's a very visual thing. So the visual element of Facebook or Instagram helps for people to really project that instantly. There's no lag. You do something, you made the video, and as you're still happy, you can already share it. There's no waiting around. There's no like the newspaper. There's like, we got this trick now. You got to phone the guy from the newspaper, do the trick again, so that they can actually make a picture and then write about it. And the next Sunday it'll be in the newspaper. No, it's just like you do it. You make a video and then you press share, and it's bam, you're doing it. And this really contributed to the sharing, and also that you do feel that you're with friends when you're on Facebook sharing your acro move, even though you're just jamming together at home when you nail the trick, and nail the trick, or the move, while you actually was training it with your friends on Sunday in the park, and they showed you this new move. And then you try it and it didn't work on Sunday, but like 5 days later, after a few more tries, you do it, and your friends, you want to thank your friends, and you can thank them too. There's all these underlying things inside the internet that really gets people hooked up together on the whole acro thing. And it's like, in that sense, the other part, the strategy that acro yoga has used is something that we do now as well, of course, is that, and actually a lot of different movement things too, is like yoga was the front runner of organizing events far away, and then getting people to fly all the way to India to do a yoga training. And this is now, you can go to the Caribbeans to do a pole dance, intensive, you can go to places to meet these teachers that you want to work with and really spend time with them, and come together with like-minded people. And that like-mindedness is really also a hit, because we've been doing it in Europe for many years. Like I said, the Dutch Acro Convention is over 30 years now. And because, at that moment that you come to the Dutch Acro Convention, you're going to meet all your friends again. You're going to be able to take those classes again. You're going to see the show. You're going to have a good time. It's like being together and hanging out and learning is just like, I think it's also really what people want. People, there's still going to be, I think there's always going to be a whole bunch of people who look at Facebook or the internet just for sitting there and forever looking and forever clicking.
Sure.
But actually most people, they see stuff and then they want to go do it. And I think that is, that's when they see stuff, and when things are happening, then you're really going like, I want to at some point, an acrobat at some point, I want to go check out Dutch Acro, to see what's going on. And then when you make friends that, the beautiful thing about acrobatics is that the people that you then meet, that you train with, that help you, they help you on a personal level to help you guide you through a certain movement. But that's not all they do. They don't just guide you through the movement. They help you to achieve something that you didn't know that you could do. And then they help you with this goal, which then actually changed already, because they said like, oh, and you go like, this is my goal. And then you go like, and this is my goal too, because you're not alone. So there's like two of you go, this is our goal. And then you explain it to these people and then go like, oh, but then if if this is your goal, that's cool, because once you've learned that, then actually this other goal over here is very achievable as well. Yeah. And so you really start to communicate with these people that are then, while you're trying to achieve these weird goals of climbing on top of each other, and then they're saving your life as well. So these people become your friend as you fall off of your the person that you work with. They catch you. And then you also get to catch them and go like, well, yeah, we actually have the variation that we do it like this over there. And, this is the Australian way of doing the hand-to-hand, where you bring in your own like version. And then you get to, catch them, and you just really get to meet people. It's not just like, oh, you go somewhere and you fill in a form and, you have a good time with people who are sitting next to each other. No, you're also climbing on top of each other. You're really meeting people right there, being together for real. That's what I think is the real value of acrobatics, is that if you want to do a group sport that is not about competition, but about really, being together and achieving something together, then if you like that part, which I think is something that for me is very likable. So if you like those things, then you're kind of set and you can just move into the acro world right away. It's like, come on in, join in. Everybody can join in.
I do think there is a little bit of competition in the acro community though, just a tad.
It's people, So we're very lucky that we have people like you and Mon pushing this wave of acro further into the future. Are these some, like you mentioned, these things that keep people interested and coming back and inspired to do more? What else in the sphere of acro keeps you motivated to keep training and put in all these years and all these hours of all this work that you've kept up with the practice?
For me, there's several reasons. One of the reasons is that there is always a new move to be learned, and that's why it's very nice. Of course, you could really completely dedicate your life to learning every single move and then move really fast, and but that would be too exaggerated for me. And I think one of those examples is that I used a lot of people think that sometimes that I don't do so much L basing, but I didn't do plenty of L basing, and there was of course a point in my life that I thought like, I'm going to learn every washing machine there is in the world, every L basing flow. I'm going to learn every single one of them, and I was at that time I was much younger. I could really train, and then of course you go like, all right, we figured out this move, so we're going to name it. But then, of course, like a year later, you meet these people and you're like, oh, we've been doing that for 10 years already. Which, you don't really mind. It's still fun that you had a great time exploring your own moves. And, but, then after, doing 10 years of like trying to get every move, and I was doing all the washing machines, then after so many years, I was going like, oh, I only want to do the ones that include hand-to-hands. So let's skip all the ones without the hand-to-hands as my level went up. And then you kind of go like, after then another few years, you kind of go like, I actually don't have to learn every move. Maybe I could learn every move, but I'm just going to take more of my time and not be so, I think, young about it, or so, just more about enjoying yourself versus like, I have to now learn every, that kind of impossible goal, which you just still embrace. Like, I think it's nice to embrace that goal. There's nothing bad about it, but it's just that I don't have that kind of drive anymore. But then it still is the fact that there is always this person that you meet, or these people that you meet that have a new move or a new movement or a new thing that makes it interesting to do acrobatics. And and it's not only the movement, it's also the communication that you learn how to. I think that's really a teacher. How do you say it? Like a teacher's gimmick. Like we have that at Partner-acroabtics, that we as teachers talk about how do we get people to do things, and they're not like how do you say, like order them to do things, but how do you talk people into doing the right thing? Like we have this braining out on, how do we draw, when you have a group of people and there's like, there's 20 of them and you explain something, and by the end of the, 2 hours, 18 of them can do it. And then we're braining out, like, how can you get all 20 of them to do it versus like those two, and then also in that time frame. And there's always this thing that, because you're taking people on a story of practice, and it's really also about, how can we support these people to be able to make that step. And with that, whether they are like, really fast learning people, or if they're more shy people, or if there's more that they don't have like all the physical awareness, there's like these different physical awarenesses all around the world with different people, with different body builds, like the way their body is built. Maybe they had an injury, and how we, the all inclusiveness of, how can we get as many of all the people that are in front of us on that same journey of sharing, and not just about obtaining that goal, but obtaining the goal of communicating and working out how you can obtain goals physically versus instantly having to obtain a goal, but better to just like show the way of being able to work together and having a good time. It's like, there's also the difference of like people who really want to, hit goals, like bang, 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 bang. I can give them addresses of circus schools in Russia and in China, and then they'll smack you with a stick, and you will, smack you into shape, and you'll get your goals. They make promises like within a month you can do that, and they will break you apart. And so, there's, if you want to do that kind of thing, there's already places for that. And so it's not really my goal to teach like that or to provide that kind of thing. It's much nicer to be more inclusive and have a bigger range of people come to the trainings that people from any corner of the world that want to go on the story of figuring out how you can move together. Yeah.
Can we go back to the Dutch Acro Convention? I had a couple of questions about that for you. How long have you been involved?
So the Dutch Acro Convention is a voluntarily run festival. It's very affordable in the sense that, of course, the actual ticket is very affordable. You have to obtain one though, because sometimes last year they sold out as well. They sold out 800 tickets in no time. It's unbelievable. They're really fast. Of course, when I've been teaching there for many years. So, if you've been teaching there for many years, they will still give you a ticket, but it's like, it's really, there will be at the Dutch Acro Convention, because there's 800 people, there's going to be up to 14 classes, every workshop round to choose from. And, so, it can be very overwhelming if the first time you go there. And that's why people like my pre-convention, because, they'll meet a whole bunch of people. And then once they're on the real convention, they know a few people. It's like if you're on this big convention and there's 800 acrobats, and then you go to a class and and things are pretty impressive what's going on. And you go like, oh, and you got nobody to hang out with. You're kind of standing there, going to be a bit shy maybe. But, and even though acrobats are very welcoming, it is very, you've got to figure out how it works. And in Holland, we have this grading system. It's called, we have it on the letters A, B, C, D, and then D being the hardest and A being the easiest. So nobody ever explained that to you, and you're standing there looking at a schedule with 14 classes per workshop round. It's ginormous. The schedule is like really big. Then you can definitely feel lost. But of course, it's the whole thing that it is so big and has classes for everybody's level. It makes it also, again, it does want everybody, it's really the base of it. The essence is that it is really about the skill sharing, that you come there, and even if you're a beginner and you want to teach a beginner class and you go, you can register to teach a class. Anybody can come in and register to teach a class. It's not, and I think you get like something like 15 euros back on your ticket. So it's not that you're going to become very rich, but you get some money back on your ticket. Yeah. And but the whole idea of the sharing is just the main big focus of the event. And also in that sense that it's also so very affordable to buy the ticket, as long as you're on time with getting a ticket. It's very open. Yeah, but like I said, it can be very overwhelming to show up by yourself in an event like that.
So that brings me to my next question, which is, why do you think that the Netherlands is so famous for acrobatics? Like, everyone hears of Dutch acrobats and...
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah, it's really kind of weird, because if you go to Russia, I think in Russia, they do extended one-arm handstands on ice skates. Yeah. But again, it's kind of okay to talk about that in the sense of, like I mentioned it before, like what acro yoga also did is that they were much more like taking the acro out of the circus and bringing it to other people, like bringing it into a space where you can just take a weekly class. And this has happened in the Netherlands many years ago. And actually it's done by these two brothers called the Como brothers. And they were actually the teachers of the people that wrote the book. And also my teacher from the Netherlands is a student from the Como brothers. And they used to perform in the 1950s. And because they were the ones to bring acrobatics, partner acrobatics, because in the circus there is lots of different kinds of acrobatics, like trapeze or a lot of different skills. But the partner acrobatics part, they brought it to the class in Amsterdam, and you could take the class, and they actually did give you certificates on your skill level. So if you would have done, if you proved to be able to do all the A-level skills, you would get your A certificate, and you could get your B certificate, C certificate, and D certificate. And because they were so constructive, and there are also the other very famous, there's the Osmani sisters were teaching in Amsterdam for many years. I was only there for the last few years that they were teaching the class. And they were also touring the Caribbean on cruise ships, also in the 1950s and 60s. Wow. And they were also teaching regular acro classes in Amsterdam. So these people that were teaching these regular classes made it so that people could just go take an acro class. And that is, something that it's also happened with gymnastics, that there was a point when I was young, I couldn't do gymnastics where I grew up. But now you can do gymnastics in many places. Yeah. And just the fact that you could take the classes, made an acro community. And from that acro community, the Dutch acrobatics event came out. And then now, of course, the Netherlands is in the middle of Europe. And acro is big in Germany. It's big in England now. The acro has picked up in England and the UK for the last 10 years. And it used to be just aerial and juggling in the UK and some acro. But now it picked up in the UK as well. And in France, they actually have a very strong history of circus. Of course, really beautiful circus. And my favorite circus shows are from France. And they also, in France, it was also that it was very circusy. And kind of the mistake of the circus world, which is the opposite of what acro yoga did, is that to bring it to the people as in a different way, as a sharing and as a hangout, which something, in the Netherlands, it was open to everybody. The Como brothers didn't go like, oh, you have to be 9 years old and this fit to be able to join my class.
This body and these skills.
It doesn't matter what age you are. My teacher, he started when he was 35. He started doing acro. And he's still teaching now. He's over 70 years old now. And so that openness, that's something I think that's one of the values of acro yoga. And I really appreciate that openness, that wanting to include everybody. That's the reason why there is space for it to grow. And then you see that the circus communities are actually now very late picking up on that there is so many acrobats actually everywhere popping up.
Yeah. And
the circus schools have been really slow at reacting because I think they're also, they want to be sometimes capitalistic. They're really, circus people are very much introverts. They go like, we're making shows. We'll be over here in the corner in this warehouse for 3 years training. And then once we're done with our show, we stick our head out on the grass and then we go. But they're not in check with what's going on in the world, just like the physical sports world. So, which is fine, in a way, but it's really funny that a lot of the acro teachers are not like in tune with like that but this has shifted now again. So because, I know a lot of performers and then they now go like, oh, Niko, can I teach on one of your events? And you go like, yeah, that's cool. And you go, how much does it pay? Not so much. And I've been like, I said, I've been a performer as well. And it's like, when you're a performer, it can definitely be challenging to make sure that your finances are always running. You just go up and down as a performer. You're just like, oh, summer festival season, I've got money in the bank account. Winter, no festivals, my bank account starts shrinking again, kind of situation. And like I said, I don't have that anymore because, I have these different events happening. Because I've shifted that. But those acro teachers are definitely now seeing that there is opportunities to be an acro teacher. But then again, I see as well that they do sometimes still make the mistake of that you can be an acro teacher and then go like, all right, now I'm going to go and be an acro teacher and teach them all the high level skills. And the most acrobats that you can find are not the high level skilled people. And the high-level skilled people, like I mentioned before, can still go to Russia and for 300 euros per month, live and train with a personal coach. And so, if you want to compete in that market, then you're just still, like a lot of circus people, not really a good business person. Because competing with the Russians, I highly recommend you try it. But it's definitely, as a performer, it was already impossible. Yeah. Because if you're in Europe and, the Eastern European performers would come to the Netherlands and do stuff for half the amount of money that you get paid for. And they would do the most insane things that I could not ever dream of copying.
Yeah, so speaking about community development and producing positive and inspiring teachers, what are some of the locations on the Partner-acroabtics.com rotation that you've got around the world? We touched on them before, but can we just talk about each one and a little bit about what's going on in each location?
Yeah, so we did our first one. We mentioned that we talked about it briefly. We did our first Partner Acrobatics event in India, in Goa. And it's hard to organize things in India. Is very, it's hard to organize things there. You can try it. It's good. It's fun, but it's chaotic. And so we went to Thailand, and in Thailand, the Thai people Thailand is just one of those countries where you talk to people and they get their thing together. And of course, it's a beautiful country with beautiful, options for retreat centers and beautiful weather. And also it's, the food is very nice, and all these things all together make it really also a reason for people to go somewhere and train. So you have that nice warm feeling of like you're going to be able to go to a country, to a place where you can hook up your holiday right after. You can stay a few weeks longer and then do a training and have a really beautiful time. And the resort that we use, Kamalana, is a really beautiful place. They have a big swimming pool and they have authentic Thai food. And we train under this ginormous tree that is provides shade for up to 60 people. And it's we hang the lounge in the tree. And it sounds very romantic. It's really nice. It's really...
So you mentioned the Bangkok pre-con, but this is in Chiang Mai?
This is in Chiang Mai in North Thailand, yeah.
And so what time of year can people catch it?
That's in January. That's always like, not completely the first 2 weeks of January, but we always almost start around the 5th or the 6th of January. We do the 2-week intensive in Chiang Mai, just half an hour south in Sankt Patong, actually. Half an hour south of Chiang Mai, which is the northern district of Thailand, and a 12-hour train ride or an hour flight from Bangkok. So
that's an intensive in Chiang Mai, and then in Mexico and Spain, they're the teacher trainings. Is that right?
We've done teacher trainings in Thailand as well, but we're sticking with the teacher training now to Spain, and we always do one in August in Spain. And it has it's in the mountains, in the Sierra Nevada mountain range. Again, we really like to have really beautiful locations, and it's like right next to the highest peak of mainland Spain. Actually, on Tenerife, on the islands, they have a higher peak. It's just slightly higher. And it's the mountains of the goats, where there's wild goats, and they jump over the rocks, and it's really dry with the pita cacti. And there's gorgeous to go hiking, and it's a very natural place. Our friend Joaquin, who runs the place, runs it in an organic way, because the whole valley and the whole mountain range is actually a nature reserve park. So people are not allowed to spray chemicals everywhere. So they just use, they grow things organically. And Joaquin is born on the mountain somewhere, I don't know exactly, never really tells me exactly how old he is, but somewhere in the 1950s. And he planted, so his parents, they started going, they've got almonds, figs, and olives. And he runs a farm with 6,000 trees. And so he also has to harvest all the olives and figs and almonds from the trees, which is very hard labor. It's like, and it's very high altitude. It's, it's like 3,000 feet high. And so it gets cold in September, and that's when they harvest. And he has kilo tomatoes. The tomatoes are just bigger than your hand, and it's all organically grown food that we also try to bring to our students that come to the training. So you really get that. We have the cheese that's from the mountain, and we're on the mountain when the training space just looks right into the valley. And it's this really beautiful place. We have every second night there is a photogenic photo shoot sunset, just glorifying the sky every night. So it's it's a really beautiful place to do a training and we really like that atmosphere. So you really get to be together on an old Spanish farm on top of the mountain in Spain, where you're kind of stuck, there is a village half an hour walking where a herd of acrobats will go for beer at some nights, and then the bar stays open 3 hours longer because there's like 20 extra acrobats showing up. And also people go on holiday there to be out of range from the phone, from the phone towers. So it's like, it's also again, it's far away, and it's really beautiful. It's it's a stunning place. It's really nice. And it has that very natural element of the Spanish trees, the figs and the almonds and the olives. And Joaquin has his own olive oil as well, this cold pressed olive oil. And it's just like, so when we're all there having the olive oil and you get to crush almonds that go into the food, and, you get to taste all the figs, like that time of year at the end of August, it's like the fresh fig time. And it's like, it's hard not to eat too many of them because they just are so delicious. So we really, for us, that kind of thing is really important, that we have this very special place where we bring people to.
Mm-hmm. And so what's the third special place on the roster?
The third special place is actually, it's called Chalananda, and it's outside of Guadalajara, which is in the center of Mexico, in the center west side of Mexico. I think the Pacific is like 3 hours driving. And I think it's the second city of Mexico. It's Mexico City and then Guadalajara. I'm not sure. I could be wrong on that one. It's what I do know is that it's right next to the little town of Villa Corona, and Villa Corona is the birthplace of the mariachis. So, culturally seen, the place where we do the trainings is right next to a lake. I don't know the name of the lake, but because of Mexico is so volcanic, the Chalananda it's actually a water park, a family water park with slides, toboganes. The slides in Spanish. Toboganes. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm picking up on my Spanish here. But all the water in the pools is naturally heated water. It's like you can just go to the pool and you don't go like, it looks like a regular swimming pool, but it's warm water. It's like
perfect
really
for
nice.
training standing acro.
Yeah, it's really, you can train standing acro, but also perfect to do after training, to go lie and just smooth out your body. And of course we have the Mexican food there. So, and it's beautiful weather. So it's like, you get these Mexican things like the Mexican fair. They have these little fairs in Villa Corona itself. So you just go with a whole horde of acrobats to the Mexican fair, which has these treadmills that are like, it's hilarious.
What is this? Like a human-sized wheel that you can get?
Yeah, no, it's like everything's smaller in Mexico. It's really funny, but they do everything so elaborate and so with so much energy in Mexico. It's really nice. They, you can have the spicy candy. You go to Mexico to the market where this music is way too loud and people are just laughing and drinking, and then you go to these little stalls everywhere and they have spicy candy. It's Mexico. It's a vibe. And you can go to see the original mariachis and all these things that I really enjoy that. And Mexico is a beautiful country.
Yeah.
So
Man, how would anyone pick just one of the options? So we noticed that your lovely partner and your lovely son have just come in to join us, and we've taken you away from your family for far too long. So thank you, Niko, for an awesome conversation, heaps of enlightening and inspiring ideas, and heaps for us just to take away personally to work on.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Awesome.
That was awesome. Yeah.
Really cool. I feel like we're just scratching the surface. Hey guys, thank you for joining us for another episode of the Acro Jam Podcast. If you would like to help out the Acro Jam Podcast, it'd be great if you could like and subscribe on iTunes, leave us a 5-star review, or you could even write a review. But if you don't want to do any of that, just thanks for listening. The fact that anyone wants to listen to this is more than enough for us. But if there's someone you think might enjoy this podcast, or if you think your local acro group would benefit from it, make sure you share it with them. Tag us at the Acro Jam Podcast, and together we can help grow this podcast into something that can make a positive impact on the acro community. If you want to keep in touch with the podcast, you can find us on Facebook at the Acro Jam Podcast. Instagram is the same name, and like we mentioned before, there's a new website. Make sure you visit acrojampodcast.com to make sure you stay up to date with everything we have going on and catch all the latest episodes. And finally, little personal plug. If you want to catch Sarah and I's Instagram and, give us some motivation to actually do something with it, come have a look at Acro Yoga Newcastle. Be our friend, subscribe, give us a heart, or do whatever you do on Instagram. Cool. See you for next episode, guys. Peace.